Good evening, I'm Kirkpatrick, and you're listening to All Songs Reconsidered. This is the show where musicians who got kicked off All Songs Considered for pissing off Bob Boilen are given a chance to apologize, which of course they never do. Joining me tonight is a folk act that's been tearing up bars and honky-tonks all over the American South with their raucous, hard-drinking attitudes and their incendiary, crowd-pleasing jams. Please welcome to the program Patrick Devonshire, Willie Swindon, and Mike Jarmusch of Dirty John and The Honeydippers.
Howdy.
Evening, Kurt.
Thanks for having us.
Now, of course, I have to start this show with the question I ask every guest. What exactly did you guys do to get kicked off All Songs Considered?
Well, frankly, in my considered opinion, I don't think we really did anything wrong. We were just showing some southern hospitality to Bob Boilen's secretary.
And his wife.
And his daughter.
Wait, really?
Well, how was I supposed to know it was take your daughter to work day? Shoot, she didn't look 16 years old.
Well, that actually explains the armed escort into the building.
Yeah, after our interview, we got into a fist fight with Bob, and, well, ever since, we've been getting unmarked packages, death threats, and the like, so we thought, better safe than sorry.
So, which one of you is Dirty John?
Well, actually, Dirty John is not so much a person as an idea. A representation of our collective id, if you will. Our base and carnal desires manifested.
Your id, really?
Yeah, you didn't think us Southern boys had any conception of classical psychology, did you?
Okay. So what about the Honeydippers? Where'd that come from?
Well, actually, that's a really funny story, Kirk. You see, Mike and his missus were celebrating their anniversary, and Mike here decided to take her for a picnic and serenade her.
Oh, you should have seen the meal I prepared. See, I was going for this Cornish game heads, fresh radicchio, and quinoa, but the quinoa at the Whole Foods was a bit too pricey, so I settled for some couscous instead. But that's alright. You know what they say about couscous?
It's the food so nice they named it twice.
Sorry, I was just pulling one over on you, Kirk. I meant to say we was having ribs, cornbread, and collard greens.
Anyway, as a kind of special treat, Mike goes and dips his pecker into a jar of honey and...
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cut you off there. Let's just move on.
Now, hold up now. Don't you know it's rude to interrupt someone when they's talking? That's telling a story.
Anyway, you know how they say you catch more flies with honey than vinegar? Well, apparently that saying is also true for ants, because apparently Mike set up a blanket right on top of an anthill, and the next thing you know, Mike's rolling around on the ground with his Johnson covered in a swarm of fire ants.
I tell you, Kirk, if I were to drop my drawers right now, you'd think you were witnessing an eldritch horror dread from the nightmare corpse city of Roulette.
Which is to say them fire ants did a real number on Mike's pecker there.
Yes, they did.
Are you done? Can we move on?
Pretty good story, right?
That was just obscene on so many different levels. Let's just talk about your music. It says here it's been described as blitz-paced and energetic with a scalding liberal satire.
Yep. One could say that if they were so inclined. We'd like to think of our music as that humid swelter before the thunderstorm.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Sounded good, though.
Okay, so where does the music come from? From where do you draw inspiration?
Well, the way we say it, our music is a mouthpiece for the Vox Populi, touting an aggressively vocal, but still accessible message about the fundamental socio-political schisms which are rendering this great nation of ours in twain, e.g. our not-so-civil disagreements over basic human rights and the fair and equitable distribution of resources. I mean, beers, trucks, and women.
Gentlemen, I'm looking at the back of your eponymous debut album, and I'm noticing that your song titles are rather bizarre, to say the least.
Why, whatever do you mean, Kirk?
Well, on the one hand, we have songs that seem to be pandering on an almost offensive level, such as Cattle Calves and Thunder Thighs, and I traded my wife to my neighbor for a set of Dale Earnhardt commemorative plates and a box of skulls.
Yeah, real crowd pleasers, that one.
Then we have titles that are just horrible jokes, like The South Will Rise Again, thanks to the magic of Cialis soft tabs.
My wife thought it was pretty funny.
And finally, there are some I'm not even sure what to make of, like My Prius Has a Gun Rack, and, this little gem. Socialism is not a four-letter word. Parentheses, just kidding, we totally support the corporate takeover of America. Semicolon, I buy all my jeans at Walmart. And parentheses.
Well, there's that scathing liberal satire you were talking about, Kirk.
Yeah, no. Is he saying some sort of liberal-type statement and then just going, haha, just kidding, guys. It's not satire. Jesus, I've met middle schoolers with more sophisticated senses of humor than you guys.
Oh, what? Now you're the satire police. Is that it, Kirk?
Yeah, who died and made you assaulting a satire?
And finally, I just want to draw attention to the bit here that says, this album lovingly written, recorded, and performed in beautiful Maynardville, Tennessee.
Yeah, that's right. Maynardville born and raised, baby. You got a problem with that?
Well, it's just that we received a phone call earlier that said, well, you know what, I'll just play it.
Hey there, Kirk. This is Joanne Fossey, calling from Maynardville, Tennessee. Anyway, I heard you was having those Dirty John and the Honeydipper clowns on your show, and I just had to call in. Those guys have been claiming they're from here, but I'm calling to tell you that not only are they not from Maynardville, but they ain't never even been to Maynardville. Plus, they have got some of the fakest southern accents I have ever heard, and the fact that you ain't realized it is just plain embarrassing. I don't know what they's deal is, but they just clearly a bunch of phonies. Also, please don't play this call in the air. I don't want anybody knowing I listen to NPR.
So, gentlemen, what do you have to say to that?
Can we go to a commercial?
This is public radio. There are no commercials.
Well, hey, how about a song?
We're going to take a quick break for the news. When we come back, we're going to find out if Dirty John and the Honeydippers are charlatans or just plain delusional. My guess is a little bit of both. I'm Kirkpatrick, and you're listening to All Songs Reconsidered, right here on listener-supported NPR.